I'm so pumped about this. All right. I am Tanya Cortez, and I am going to be interviewing the amazing Alejandra. I'm so excited about this because I had asked her to do this Zoom, for some of my team, and it's mainly going to be on mindset, what it takes for this business, and how she got to Triple Diamond. So I'm really excited about this. If you can first introduce yourself, your story, and how many years you've been in the business.
For sure. Hey guys. Okay, so I'm Alejandra Caldera. I've been doing the business now for 4 years. It's crazy to even say that. I honestly started just because I wanted $500 a month. I was a TV reporter back in the day before I started this, and people thought I was making all this money. No one obviously ever suspected that I was going through this hard financial situation where our lights were getting shut off, and it was bad, right? So I was pregnant with my second baby, and it was a high-risk pregnancy. I was told that she would have deformities, that she would have like all these issues, and I just started to realize, like, what am I doing with my life? I'm basically working away and never seeing my family. I'm always gone, and yet I'm still broke, So obviously we're all on social media. So I started scrolling on social media and seeing that, there was a girl making money, and I was like, okay, like, how is she doing this? So I started. I really didn't have any experience. I didn't have any knowledge really on the product. I just knew that I wanted to be home with my kids, and that, God was giving me this opportunity because I had prayed for that for so long. Sorry, someone's like at my door. Hold on. Sorry. So we are like moving, so it's like a mess right now, and I don't trust anybody yet. So I apologize. But they are just like playing the front porch, and I'm like, oh, let's just come inside. But anyways, so I started this 5 months into the business. I went diamond. And then 11 months after that, I went triple diamond. So I skipped double completely and went from diamond to triple after a conference. So get to conference, you guys. It's one of those events that you can't really explain. You just have to be there, and you will feel all the feels once you're there, and like that's going to elevate you to that next level of your business. If you feel stuck, if you feel like you're feeling some type of way, no matter how long you've been in the business, whether you're brand new and you're don't really even know what you're doing yet, if you're someone who's been in 2, 3, 4 years, but you just need to get that refresher, that refuel and refocus. Okay, so I went to conference, promoted to triple, and basically I've been triple since then. Okay, so that's a little bit about me. Thanks to this business, like I said, I'm moving, and I just moved into my ranch house. It's on my dream board. It's on my dream board to have our horses and our baby goats, and all the ranch things, right? That farmhouse. For a lot of people, it's just a couple of decorations. For me, it's like a way of life. My husband has horses, and they're all about that ranch life. So to finally see it come true, we gave a huge lump sum for our down payment. We've paid over $20,000 in debt. I bought my mom her dream car. I get to stay home with my kids. I get to homeschool, be a gymnastics, ballet mom, you name it, So I'm very busy, but I would never trade my busyness that I get to plan on my schedule for a 9 to 5, So that's a little bit about me and my journey. Like I said, 4 years now. So this doesn't happen overnight, you guys. If you just started, just keep going. Like I said, I went diamond in 5 months. It took me 11 months after that. So 16 months to go triple.
Oh my gosh, congrats on your house. That is freaking amazing. Okay, I didn't even know you homeschool as well. That's crazy. Okay, that is good. That's amazing. Okay, so you said you went triple. Okay, so how do you think that this business has changed your life? I want you to tell everybody financially, and of course mentally and emotionally as well.
Sure. Is your camera off? Because I'm like, where is she at? I cannot see you. But okay. So I want to start off by saying, like, we say so much, you guys, mindset. And a lot of you guys are like, oh my God, if this girl says one more thing on mindset, I'm just going to jump off the Zoom. Okay. Well, first of all, if that's your attitude, you need to work on your mindset. Okay. But second, it's like, you don't realize how important it is until you stop doing it. Okay. Because when you don't do it, you don't know how important, how vital, and how life-changing it can be until you start doing it and then stop. Okay. So it's like, imagine that, you know, there's people that don't like to go to the gym. There's people that don't like to work out, and that's okay, you know? But then you start going and you start liking it, you start feeling better about yourself, and you start seeing that six pack come in, and you know the work and the dedication and the how good it makes you feel, and then you stop. Or let's just say, or you get pregnant. You know, we get pregnant and our bodies change, and you're like, dang, like I was so skinny, I was so fit, right? And you miss it, but you don't value it until it's gone, right? So with mindset, I really feel like I was never told like work on your mind or careful with the words that you say. You know, I was told that bad words were like explicit words, like the F word or, you know, whatever. But I wasn't told that even just doubting myself was a bad word, you know, or telling myself I can't. Like, I feel like can't is worse than the F word, because you are condemning yourself to that situation. I can't do this. You know, I'm not capable of changing. So that fact that you can't you're limiting your own self and your own potential. And God has given us so much more and the ability to do so much more if we would only believe and change that can't to can. Just one letter can make that big difference. One little letter, the T, right? So make sure that you cross your T, cross it out, that you don't have that word in your vocabulary. So I was never told about mindset. That's in our Hispanic community. That's not like something that we teach our kids. Like, we teach them how to work. We teach them how to, you know, go to school so that they can get a good job. But that's how we're programmed. But sometimes we have to break that programming and say, you know what, there's more. There's more to this life. There's more that I can be doing. And just training your mind. There's a verse in the Bible that says, so a man think in his heart, so he is. And that's true. So whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. You know, so as you think in your heart, as you think about yourself, that's what you're going to do. So if you think that you are going to enroll customers and you open up your social media saying, okay, I'm going to plant all these seeds and they're going to come to, you know, they're going to come to me. I am attracting customers. I am attracting distributors. I am attracting the right people for my business. You know, it starts to really happen what you put out there. And that's obviously all business related. But once you start to elevate yourself, you start working on your mind and something happens where you start going up, 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 up. Okay. So sometimes when you're working on your mindset, things seem to fall apart. When you're working on your faith, when you're getting closer to God, it's like, why are all these bad things happening? Well, because you're no longer at that level. You don't see eagles and turkeys flocking together, right? Birds of a feather flock together. But eagles don't flock, they soar. They soar higher than everybody else. So you'll never see a pigeon not swimming, of course not. You'll never see a pigeon flying with an eagle because it can't reach that altitude. Okay. And you have to be like the eagle. You have to be willing to break out of that flock, out of that tradition of, you know, go to work or go to school, get a good job, and do that for the rest of your life, you know, and maybe have a couple good years at the end of your life, you know. So you have to break from that, what society says. And once you start doing that in this business, you start realizing, well, you're no longer tolerate maybe those toxic relationships, which makes your life so much better. Maybe it hurts a little bit because you're used to it. And sometimes we're used to being in a certain spot, but sometimes you just got to say, peace out, you know. It's your dream, and you can't let your mama, your daddy, your sister, your spouse deter you from what God has said is your path, because he gave it to you. He put that in your heart, in your life, for you, not for your mom, not for your dad, not for your brother, sister, cousin, aunt, you know, or next door neighbor. So you got to do this for you. And when you start having that mind and that mentality, you just start to attract different people. You start to be a different person. And for some people, it can be intimidating. And obviously, oh, you changed. And it's like, yeah, girl, it's all about change. You better be changing, because if you're in the same spot you are as you were 10 years ago, you got to go. You know, I love you, but I got to sit over here, you know? So it just starts to really also tap into your personal relationships. So obviously that mindset has helped me in those areas. I also, you know, I'm not going to lie and sit here, it's all peaches and cream and just work on your mind, because it's not, you know. I went through postpartum depression. You know, I struggle with anxiety. I struggle with, you know, doubt like everybody else of worthiness of, you know, can I do this? Like I said, I'm very busy. I'm a very busy person. And it's like when when you are doing so amazing, it's like, that's when the enemy tries to like, shift your focus. Because if you're go, 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 but if he can kind of deter you, it starts like this, but then eventually you just fall off the tracks. So when it comes to that, I think one of the biggest things that has helped me is to just stay close to my faith, stay close to God, stay close to people who are like-minded. Because if you're in a funk and you go talk to fulanita who hates her life, who is, battling depression herself, and I'm not saying like stay away from people, because I feel like hurt people. So you always want to be the light and an inspiration to others. But if you are just constantly around a Debbie Downer and you're writing down yourself, they're not going to lift you up. People, you cannot fill a cup if yours is empty. Okay. In order to really grow, you must serve, you must be willing to be humble and say, okay, this is my situation, but I'm going to surround myself and I'm going to decide, because it's a decision. I'm going to decide to hang around, to hang around with other top leaders, to hang out with who are speaking life to me, not who are, just bringing me down. So if you have someone who's depressed, it's like, don't sit there and be depressed together, find someone who's not depressed, hang out with that person. And I tell my team, like, I want to be the most inspirational, positively annoying person you'll ever meet. Because it's like, if you're already going through a funk, it's like, you don't want to hear about my funk. I'm here to uplift you. I'm here to help you. I'm here to encourage you. So how does that start? My cup has to be full. I cannot pour to my team, to my family, to my husband, to my children, from a cup that's empty. Okay. So make sure that your cup is full, and not just in the business, in your personal life. How can you love your husband if you don't love yourself? How can you demonstrate respect if you don't respect yourself, if you don't value yourself? So the whole mindset, it's not just for the business. It's for everything, and it trickles down into your personal life. And your children, if you have children, are your biggest legacy, not just what you make in this business. I mean, you can make $1 million or you can make $100, but your children are here long after you will, after you're gone. So if you start to instill that mindset and that belief that they can and they are worthy of so much more, imagine how much of a bigger impact we can have on the next generation, and how much more of a positive world this would be if we all would raise ourselves to that level, of just saying, okay, I can't pity party for too long because my kids are watching. So if your kids are your why, like I tell my team, you got to get over yourself, girlfriend. Like, you got to snap back into reality and give them a reason to follow, not an excuse. I will never have my kids say, oh, my mama quit because it was hard. Hail to the no. That will never be my children. That will never come out of their mouths. I will never give them that example. So you are the biggest example for your children. So if they're your why, don't you dare quit. Don't you dare slow down. They're watching. What else did you ask me?
Oh my gosh, it's always dark right here. That's why I don't have my camera on. But girl, oh my god, that is freaking amazing. I love everything that you're saying right now. Okay, now during your business and your promotions, have you had life happen to you? So for example, like let's say, have you had maybe like a loss in your family or financial, when you're promoting? What else can happen? Well, a lot of life can happen. Can you explain to everybody like what you did different or what you did in order to promote, even though all of that was going on?
Right. It's not even just during promotion time, girl. It's like every day in the business, every day can be a new challenge depending on how you look at it, So for example, today I had a doctor's appointment, I had a chiropractor appointment, and then I had, to go get blood work, and then I had homeschool, and then I had, I'm still moving in. So it's like, I could be like, oh my God, I'm just so tired. I can't, or I can just be like, all right, well, if I know that that's my day, I'm going to plan ahead, and wake up at least an hour before so I can get some work in and then do my craziness. So, life is always going to happen. And if you sit here and say like, I'm going to wait until my circumstances are better, or I'm just going to ride out this bad wave, you're doing yourself a disservice. And if you plan to fail, you fail to plan. Wait, what is it? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. You know what I mean? So for example, like I went diamond in 5 months, like I said, but I was supposed to have gone diamond in 4 months, but my Emerald canceled. Okay. So if you're not familiar with charting, basically a really important key to my promotion canceled her entire account, meaning she was no longer there. I could not use her. And this happened 2 days before the end of the month. Okay. If you're not familiar with the business, the end of the month is the cutoff. That's it. Okay. 2 days before the end of the month, she canceled her entire account. And I would have been like, what? Like, what? And for those 2 days, I'm like, this is not for me. Maybe this is a sign. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. This sucks. Like, everything sucks. I hate everything. And then the first of the next month, the 1st of March, I was like, all right, like, I am not going to let this girl, freaking tear me down. Okay. And then not just that, they announced the promotions where the $10,000 bonus was on the line. So I was like, okay, like, I'm going to freaking get that bonus. And I got myself to diamond. So after basically I had to rebuild, or I had to reconstruct, like Mark said, I had to reload, meaning I just had to, okay, whatever happened, all right, I'm going to either use it as something that's going to get me down or something that's going to fuel me to take that to the next level. And I don't want anyone to take me the wrong way. So do not hate me for what I'm about to say. But you can come from the most horrific background. You can come from sexual abuse, verbal abuse, abandonment, whatever your situation is. I am not disregarding it whatsoever. So like I said, don't get me wrong, but that does not make you a victim. Okay. That does not give you permission to stay in that spot. Okay. You have the power. And if you can't find it within yourself, give it to God, and God will lift you up and mount you on the wings of eagles, and you will soar. Okay. Give it to him and he will take it from you. But it does not allow you to say, oh, well, this happened to me, so I'm just going to quit the rest of my life. I talked with another girl on the team, and she went through all of that. And that's why I use those examples, because she went through physical abuse at 8 years old, by her family members. She hated being home. She found out she didn't have papers. She didn't have, documents. She didn't have dreams. She didn't have visions, because she thought, like, I don't deserve to, right? And she felt that way for such a long time, until she's like, wait, no, I'm made for more. This mess is my message, and I can change so many lives because of this. So don't think that your mess is a mess. Your mess is a message, but you have to decide to use it as such. And you have to say, okay, God, why me? How are you going to use me? You chose me to go through this so that I could help somebody else, right? I had to go through it first, because I had to be the testimony of how God can use a broken person into a beautiful masterpiece, into a mosaic. Mosaic art is basically crushed up glass put together in the most beautiful, exquisite form, okay? So you have to be willing to be broken in order to be used for mosaic artwork. Okay. So don't be afraid of the struggle, embrace it. Failure, whatever it is, the death of a family member. I remember for green carpet, one of my girls that went with me, her grandpa passed away, and he was, on the brink of death those days. But she's like, I had a decision. I could go to green carpet and continue with my life and pursue my dreams and work hard so that I can be present in my family's life, or sit back and just mope, and dwell on that depression. And we all have that choice, and it hurts. I'm not diminishing the hurt and the pain that comes with this, but you have to be willing to pull yourself up, is what I'm saying. And if you can't, come back to self-development, come back to your mentor, your, sideline, upline, downline, whatever, someone that is going to lift you up, and then give it to God. Those 3 things I feel are super important. I've been through people quitting on me. I've been through going from a triple diamond, going pay down to a ruby, having to completely chart myself to triple on 2 occasions, having to chart myself to presidential on like more times than I can count, but I'm still here. I've been through miscarriage. There was a time in my business in the early stages where I was almost getting divorced. It was just bad. We were in a rocky situation. Deaths in the family, and so many things that have happened where I could say, I'm done, but I'm just like, I am here for a purpose. And if I'm going through this, and if I can get through this, anyone can get through this. So you have to be willing to use your mess as a message and embrace it. Don't tolerate it. I'm not saying if you're in an abusive situation, just sit there and, okay, she said tolerate. No. I'm saying, like, whatever you've been through, your past, it shouldn't define you. It happened, but it's like, how are you going to use that for the honor and glory of God, for your testimony and for your story. And your story is so much more powerful than you think. You know, I was embarrassed at first to tell people that my lights were getting shut off. And it's so funny, as I'm literally sitting here doing this video with you guys, my walls, like, it looks like I'm in a freaking hospital or something, because everything is so white, right? And I'm going to get emotional because I remember the days where I did not even have money to pay my light bill. And I would, you know, be getting ready for work with my little baby, and I would flick on my lights and they wouldn't turn on. And now I am sitting in my dream home with my children with the freaking brightest lights, you know, something so simple and so stupid. But I'm like, I had to go through that. I had to feel what that was like to literally appreciate this lighting. Okay, I would not have appreciated this lighting right now had I not known what it's like to wake up in darkness, to go to sleep in darkness, to have, you know, no food in your fridge. So embrace what you've been through, acknowledge it, but don't be defined by it. Keep going forward, keep moving, and you will see that the blessing is so much greater than the hurt and the pain and the struggle of right now. So just keep moving. Did that answer your question?
Oh my gosh, yes, it did. I think we're all emotional over here. We need to be emotional. That is freaking amazing. Okay, so yes, you answered actually 3 of the questions. Can we talk a little bit about fear, about you having fear, you know, like, oh, can I do this? I know you said that already, but maybe go a little more into detail of, you know, maybe somebody just started and they're very fearful of doing it. Maybe they're fearful of what people are going to say. And maybe they're fearful of, you know, them, you know, investing their money into this.
Right. Well, when I started, I was pregnant. So imagine a pregnant girl talking about weight loss. Okay. It made no sense, but I promoted to Diamond, you know, but here's the thing. I didn't say, oh, I'm pregnant, no one's going to buy from me. I said, I need to make money because I'm about to give birth, you know? And it's funny because I promoted to Diamond in, in April. And then I had my baby 16 days later, May 16th. Okay. So it's like I was working because I was literally on a time crunch. I had to make this work. I couldn't not make it work, you know? So your why has to be, first of all, strong enough, because it's like you will get consumed by your fear. You will get consumed by that overwhelming feeling of like, what do I do if your why is not big enough? Like I said, I cannot put my kids to bed tonight and say I didn't try my 1,000% for you. I can't. And I won't, you know, or I can't look at my daughter and say, well, you know what, we could have been living this way, but mommy, you know, it got too hard, or people said no to me, you know. You also have to remember that no is an opinion. No is an opinion of that person, and a confused mind will say no. A lot of people don't join the business or buy the products because they're confused. A confused mind says no. And it's an opinion that they have. It's not a fact about you or who you are. So don't take a no so personally. Another fear, and I think one of the biggest fears, not so much that, because I was ignorance on fire when I started. I was just like, go, go, go. Okay, I made money. Keep going, keep duplicating. And that's just how I promoted so fast. I went, you know, triple basically in 16 months. But the real fear hidden after I lost my rank, after I had life happen, after I had the miscarriage, after I was going through the depression, you know, of like, can I even do this? Was I a one-hit wonder? Was I, you know, even now, you guys, like, I'm like, why am I not presidential? Like, why, you know, why? But it's like, I can sit here and look at, why am I not presidential? Or like, I am literally sitting in my dream home. You know what I mean? So it's all about perspective. But, you know, I think the fear is always there. And like I said, the enemy knows when you're on the verge of something great. So if you're on the verge of something great, that's when fear starts to slowly somehow creep in even more. And that's when you have to get closer to God. That's when you have to get closer with your self-development and your journaling and your affirmations, and realize that fear is a liar. Fear is not of God. Fear is, you know, a trick of the enemy to deter you. So you have to literally, if it means that right now we all stop and say, back up, Satan, because I don't have time for this. I am on the road to accomplishing my goals. Get behind me, because the Lord is with me. You know, whatever it is that you have to say or if you have to do, and just say, back up, because I'm busy right now. Like, I don't have time for your lies, you know, and cast out his name in the name of Jesus, and he will flee from you. The enemy will depart from you, but you have to make sure that you're doing it constantly. Don't wait for it to creep up on you. One of the biggest, I think, lessons was, and I tell this story all the time, so my team knows it, but that was kind of the pivotal changing moment where I was, like I said, I was depressed. I was, you know, I had the miscarriage, and I just kind of was like, I'm not even a good leader. You know, I was telling myself all these I can'ts, right? And we went to a Tria event in Redondo Beach. It was Claire Flores, Eliana, and myself, and we were in a room together. And we went down to the concierge office, and we had this, you know, this guy whose name was George, and he was telling us his story. And he told us his story about how he had to cross 8 borders to get to the United States, you know, from his country. And he was basically telling us, like, throughout the whole time, I just asked God, hold my hand, hold my hand, hold my hand. Don't let go of my hand. Don't let go of my hand. And he's like, I came to the United States and I was living under a bridge, but there was God. You know, he was giving me a shelter. I was eating out of a dumpster. The bridge so happened to be right across the street from a McDonald's. So I got to eat McDonald's out of a dumpster, and there God was with me also. And I was like, what? Like, this guy is so freaking thankful of dumpster food. And he acknowledges that God gave him at least that. I was like, wow, right? And so a heart of gratitude, of thankfulness. And then he says he eventually climbed the ranks and is really well known in the Marriott company, in the hotel company. Bill Marriott was basically writing all these certificates, and I guess the day that he met him, he's like, hey, I know you, you're George, and I signed a lot of your certificates on my desk. And George said, when I shook his hand, I shook his hand with my God hand, with the hand that God has been holding and walking with me every day while I was under that bridge, while I was eating food in the dumpster. It was all because it had to lead to this moment, you know? So it's fear is going to be there, but at the same time, it's like, where's your faith? If you are fearful, then you're not faithful. And if you're not faithful, you have to check your heart, check your relationship with God, check your, you know, self-development, and who you're hanging out with, and what you're, first of all, speaking to yourself. Okay. Because like I said, those I can and I can't will make a huge impact, not only for you, but for your children, for the legacy that you leave behind, whether you say you can or you can't. Fear is everywhere, you guys. Like I said, I'm just like, can I go presidential? Like, what's next, you know? But then I have to remind myself, like, yes, I can. Yes, I can. And it's not a matter of can I or like, am I? It's I'm going to, on God's timing. And just like George, maybe I have to go through the bridge. Maybe I have to go through a little bit, but that time's coming for me. So just, you have to remember, if you have fear, then you're not leaving room for faith.
Okay, I'm like crying right there with that story. Because I remember when I was homeless, like I only had an orange to eat, and it was out of a neighbor's tree. So that's freaking crazy. Okay, if we can talk about excuses, if maybe somebody is working, like you said, you're super busy all the time. Maybe somebody has like more than one baby, and they just feel like they can't find time to do this.
Okay, so honestly, this is where my red's gonna come out, and I'm red yellow, so I hope I don't scare anyone or nobody hates me and throws tomatoes at me. But if you have excuses, you don't want it, okay? And if you're like, I can't do this, I can't do that, I don't have time, it's like, all right, then we'll just quit. Quit. If you are too busy, if you can't do anything, then just quit. That's honestly like what I say. And then people are like, what? Like, what do you mean? They're like, I can't quit. Like, I have, you know, my this or that or the other. And they start telling me basically their why again. And I'm like, okay. So then if you have that big why, then why are you coming up with all these reasons as to why you can't? You know, you don't have time. Like, any person who says that they don't have time, I'm like, girl, what's your schedule like? First of all, if you don't have time, first of all, pull out your day. What time are you waking up? Are you waking up at 9, 10 a.m.? Okay, then you're lazy. Okay. If you have all these excuses, at one point you don't want it bad enough, or two, you're lazy. That's the bottom line. And if you're lazy, then maybe you don't deserve what you're asking for. You don't deserve a paycheck of a diamond. You don't deserve to have your dream home. You don't deserve your goals and your dreams because you're not willing to work for them. So what are you going to do? It's like, are you going to just say, well, oh, well, I can't do it, or say hell to the no? Like, I'm going to freaking do it no matter what, you know? It's all about perspective. So if you want a $10,000 check, but you're not willing to wake up at 5 in the morning, get out of here, girl. Just get out of here, because there is no way that you want a $10,000 check, but you're not willing to wake up at 5. So it's like, you have to dissect your schedule to see what works for you. Okay. For me, I wake up at 5. If I do not wake up at 5, it's like my day just doesn't, it gets all messed up. Okay. Because I have homeschool, we have gymnastics, we have church, we have all these things. Okay. So if I know, for example, like today, that it's going to be a crazy day, I have to be up at 5. Okay. I have to be up at 5, do my power hour, do my self-development, really do my journaling and things like that. Okay. Early in the morning. And then it's like, okay, well then if you are like, okay, well, I can't wake up at 5 because I go to work at 5. It's like, all right then. Well then, if you know that you get off at, noon, you work from, la madrugada. Okay then, right before you are going to go home, tell 20 minutes, talk, do your self-development, do something in the car on your way there. It's like, if you work, you can make it around your work schedule. I always tell people, write out hour per hour what it is that you do. Okay. So if at 1 a.m. you're at work, but it's super slow, do this, do 20 minutes of this. If you are a stay-at-home mom and, your kids go to school from 9 to 3, it's like, okay, from 9 to 3, you don't have to clean your entire house. Okay. You could do from 9 to 10, a power hour, and then clean from 11 to noon, make lunch, prepare your husband's dinner, whatever the heck, have a quick 30-minute power hour, go pick up your kids, play with your kids for 2 hours. Tell them you have to discipline your children and your family as well. If you're going to go to work at a 9 to 5, they have to be okay with that. They don't get to say, no, mom, you stay here, because you got to go. So if you're home, you have to put boundaries. You have to put those times where, okay, this is mama's time to work. Okay, now I'm going to work. Okay, so go play outside, read a book. You can watch a movie, whatever you want to do it. But I need 30 minutes. Once I'm done, then it's your time again. Okay, so my schedule works like from 5 to 7 is work, self-development, and I'll probably hit the gym. And then like at 7:30, I'll do a quick power 30, because by 7:45, my daughter's awake. So then I start getting breakfast. I start getting school ready. I homeschool. By 9:30, we're doing homeschool. So from like 8 to 9:30, I'm doing either, breakfast, cleaning the kitchen, throwing a laundry in, housework. Okay. 9:30 to about noon, 1 p.m. is when I homeschool. But between her little sessions that she has, I break off at least 10 minutes, answer messages, go add people really quick. And then that's that. So then we break for lunch. No phones during lunch. We talk, we play, whatever. I usually do like an hour and a half of time with them. So it's intentional. Okay. If you're going to tell your family to give you 30 minutes of their time, then when you're with them, those 30 minutes, let's just say, then you respect their time. You don't be on your phone. You don't say like, oh wait, hold on, let me answer this message, because you asked them to be quiet while you were working, So respect your time and be disciplined. If you do not have a schedule, you're already failing right there. Okay. It does not matter if you work, if you don't work, if you're a student, if you have 5 jobs, whatever it is. If you do not have a schedule, you're already on the road to failure. Okay. If you do not tell your time where to go, it's just going to go. Okay. And before you know it, it's 10 o'clock and you're so tired that you're going to go to bed. Right. And you didn't do anything all day when you probably watched Netflix for an hour and a half. And I'm not saying that it's not okay to go on a date night and leave your phone behind, or go to a movie, or, really dedicate 2-3 hours to your kids during the day. But like I said, if you're willing to go to 9 to 5 and sit there on their rules, on their times, why don't you put rules and times for yourself? You're disciplined for somebody else, but not for yourself. So you have to really evaluate, like, what does your day look like? Anyone who says that they're too busy, I'm like, try me. Let's go head to head. How busy are you, girl? Show me how busy you are, because trust me, there's going to be someone busier than you doing better than you. Someone with less money doing better than you. Someone with more kids doing better than you. Someone with less health than you doing better than you because they want it, because they're disciplined, because they're willing to not use any of those reasons as excuses. Plain and simple. And this is where I have zero tolerance. Zero tolerance. You are not busy. You just don't know how to manage your time. I can help you how to manage your time, but I can't help you change your mindset of those excuses. You know what I mean? So, and that's where you have to come through. You have to say, okay, I can do this and I will manage my time. And I do have time. It all comes back to the mindset. So I love the whole money mindset because that's where it starts, you guys. It really starts there. I don't have time. You're just saying you do not. That you're defining something as set in stone, right? Whether you open up your schedule hour to hour and you look at your day, there's times where the busiest person sends me their schedule like that. I'll find like 4 or 5 hours in that person's schedule. It's 30-minute increments, 10-minute increments, and it adds up to 4 or 5 hours. And they're like, oh, I do have time for my business. I'm like, yeah, you're not telling your time where to go. So that's why it just goes nowhere. So there's no such thing as there's no time, because there's people, like I said, with way less resources than we do, doing better than us, just because they're disciplined and because they are dedicated.
Oh my gosh, that was like perfect. I cannot wait to get this recording and like rewatch everything and woo! All right. So we do have a minute left. So if you can just give everybody your last advice or whatever you want.
Of course. So I think my biggest advice is that regardless of your situation, regardless of your background, but regardless of where you are now, it's really important to pray. Pray for what you want. Ask God, invite him into your life, and ask him, like, help me to be a blessing to others, and as you're helping and serving other people, the blessings will come back towards you. Know your goals and know that it's not a straight shot to success. The Lord says, I know the plans that I have for you, plans to prosper you, to give you hopes in the future. But he never says, hey, Tanya, this is the plan. You're going to be homeless for about a year. You're going to have, your babies. You're going to go through depression. Like, he doesn't tell us all that, It doesn't work that way. That's where, like I said, that's where faith comes in. When you're willing to go through all the struggle, the hurt, the good, the bad, and stay laser focused on your goal. Someone asked me, like, you have your dream house, like, that's it, right? And I'm like, no, that's just the beginning. Like, we remodeled the whole thing in cash. Now we're going to do the backyard. Now after that, we're going to start buying investment properties. After that, we want to buy a property in Mexico. After that, it's like, now it's my parents' house that we want to build. So it's like, you have to keep dreaming and moving forward, even if you don't see it now. My husband and I, we've been married for 10 years, and we just recently got his immigration papers. It took us 6 years. 6 years, you guys, to get those documents. It took me 4 years to buy this house. So it doesn't happen overnight, but the reward and the blessing will come if you endure, if you're humble, if you're grateful,